The most interesting guests in the music industry, entertainment, art, and politics step into the studio for Turning Point with Frank Mackay.
This week on Turning Point with Frank Mackay, Joey Belladonna, the lead singer of the famed metal band Anthrax, talks with Frank about living in the small town of Oswego, New York, and his career in the music business.
And now, Turning Point with Frank Mackay.
Welcome to Turning Point. Our very special guest today is lead singer of the band Anthrax, Joey Belladonna. Joey, how are you?
Oh, good afternoon, guys.
So, are you guys in the middle of touring, or are you recording? What's your process at this point?
Well, right now, we just finished an EP with some covers on it. You know, the album's been done, since last October. Worship music. That went successful for us. We're touring it quite a bit. We're getting ready to go back out again into India, Australia, with Metallica and Slayer. Do some festivals over there. That should be fun.
Do you keep up on your statistics? I mean, you've had such a great career. Do you keep up on how many countries you visited or how many continents, that type of thing?
I have it in my head where I've gone, but, there's probably a few little, small little cities that, overseas or something I might have, lost track of where they lie. How close they are to somewhere else in the big cities. And you just kind of go with the flow sometimes. You don't even realize, unless you look at a map, go, holy cow, I'm over here, I'm over there,
Right. Again, our special guest is Joey Belladonna, lead singer of Anthrax. Have any of the places that you've played surprised you, that you had either a following or some kind of impact on, one of these foreign areas? You mentioned India, for example.
Well, India will be our first time over, so that'll be another one of those surprises. I mean, I think when we first, last year, went over and did the Philippines, and, that was an interesting place to be. Poland was another one of those huge towns that I never anticipated being so large. And in fact, we're going to go back over again and do a Polish Woodstock this summer, and recorded like 500. They're looking for 500,000 people. So it should be, stuff like that is pretty overwhelming. And the rest are all great and everything. It's just some of them are a little different as far as the size of crowds, or if you're first time there, you're just overwhelmed that people are that excited and haven't seen you in forever, and finally you come, and it's just as exciting for us as it is for them, I think.
We're with Joey Belladonna, lead singer of Anthrax. Joey, if I could ask you for a little history lesson for those listening. I know you started out on Megaforce Records along with Metallica, and that was Johnny Z. That was your first introduction to the music business?
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as anything I could call legit, I mean, as far as playing in bands, I started in 7th and 8th grade playing drums and singing and just being in bands until then. So, I mean, I guess that was part of my being in the business of some sort, but nothing legit until I did hit Megaforce. Excuse me.
Well, what was your experience working with Johnny Z? Was it a positive experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was very overwhelming to see that someone that's very energetic about, making us be a part of something big and breaking a band and being very loyal to us as far as a mentor, and just having some, quite a bit of connections to see us through. Him and his wife and the whole company, the label itself. It was quite a long time we spent together. So, yeah, it was. We do stay in touch too.
But you're not working. You don't have a professional relationship any longer, right?
No, with Johnny Z, no. But our label at this point is Megaforce. It's just different people owning it, running it.
At one point, did Megaforce get picked up by Elektra?
think Anthrax went on to Elektra. I'm not sure Megaforce did anything, as a combined. I'm not sure. Well, of course, I was out of the band at that point, so I don't know all the logistics of it.
How about starting with the band? How did you first get involved with these guys? How did you first get into Anthrax?
Well, I received a call from the band's producer, or actually Johnny Z called. I was in a cover band in 1983, upstate in Plattsburgh. I was just doing my thing, doing covers as I normally do, and still do at this point. Because I love just singing and making music and playing music. And just out of the blue, asked if I was interested in checking out a band called Anthrax. I had no idea who they were called, who they were, or what it was, or anything. It's just one of those times it catch me, and I said, sure, I'd love to. It was one of my first flights from Plattsburgh to Ithaca, New York, flying into from a small one to a small place on a propeller prop plane, kind of thing. And it was overwhelming, and then showing up and not knowing who they are and just taking on what they're doing and listening to the music, and I just asked if I wanted to join. And I kind of thought about it a bit. I wasn't sure that was the type of music that was going to be for me, or if it was going to be something that I didn't know the guys. I thought they were fantastic, and I thought it was great. It's great to hear some good songs, and it just was different kind of music. So I was a little overwhelmed at first, but then I thought about it. I said, let's just give it a whirl. I'd love to go for it. I thought my style was unique on top of the music. So, coming from a different background.
Now, where did they come across you? How did? Well, let me first ask you, what were you singing in this cover band?
I don't think they were aware of the cover band at all. I think they heard of me through, I was in a band called Bible Black, which was some founding members of the Rainbow band, Elf, with Elf, and it's just one of those things. I think from what I understand, the band come across the demo we did that really wasn't intending on being any demo in particular. One day we just went down and thought we'd go down and bust out something that we never even rehearsed or anything. We were just putting stuff on tape. And I guess they took a liking to it. They were looking for a singer, and I don't really know the chains of events how they got in contact with my parents to call me or to get my number to where I was. I don't even remember too much from that point on, but they did find a way to get a hold of me, which was really cool. It was just a matter of time before I ran into something that would be worth my while. So that's basically how it kind of came about.
You mentioned Alf. How much of an influence was Dio on you?
I just loved everything he did from Alf on. And of course, when Rainbow came out with that record, that was like, wow. I mean, this is really great. I mean, I was playing Man of the Silver Mountain in my basement before I even, had that many gigs under my belt. We were, I remember having no PA and still singing over the band with that stuff. And the coolest, greatest record. And I love Deep Purple, so just to see that band form and Ronnie to be in that, fantastic. Love it. This is very bluesy, but yet hard, heavy. He has such a great, strong voice, and I just love the style.
Did you have any interaction with Dio?
Oh yeah, many different times. And plus we toured together. We did some Dio Anthrax overseas dates. Anthrax toured with Dio in the States. Visited him many different times, and on the Heaven and Hell run, and good friends with his wife. It's just a small camp of people that we all know each other, even the crew members, and just people that all live in this area. They're all just a great bunch of people.
How about the guys from Elf, the original guys from Elf? Do you still keep in touch, or are they still around?
Yeah, me and Rock Feinstein, the guitar player, and Elf, which is the guitar player from the Rods, also, and we'd stay in touch. We just did a Stand Up and Shout, one of the second Ronnie cancer raising funds that his wife Wendy put together, and I met up with Rock, and we actually played together that night. Not on the same song, but he played a song with some people, I played a song with some people, and of course, unfortunately, I sang in Ronnie's funeral and the wake and all that stuff, and we Rock ran at each other again. Wasn't the best of times, but kind of got a little bit more of a bond going, and a friendship, more so than before.
Where was the funeral? Where was Dio's funeral?
It was out in California.
Was it a large contingent of people, or was it private? What was it?
Oh, that was the church ceremony was an invitation only, and then they had the next day with a memorial, and it was there was thousands of people. I mean, there were screens outside. There was, the whole inside was fully packed, and there was a lot of people. It was very overwhelming. I sang there, sang Man of the Silver Mountain. I did an acoustic version of that. It was quite overwhelming. It was something I just never forget.
You mentioned the Rods, the band, the Rods. Did Carl Kennedy have something to do with the Rods?
Yeah, no. Carl, on the other hand, he wasn't part of the Owl thing, but Carl and Rock, did the Rods for years, and Carl was producing in fact, I think Carl might have had a hand in finding me or getting a hold of me through, the band, and because he was producing Spreading the Disease when I walked in, so me and Carl became friends there also.
Turning Point with Frank Mackay returns right after this. Welcome back to Turning Point with Frank Mackay.
When you're in an area like, the Syracuse area, the Finger Lakes area, that, really upstate, you mentioned Oswego. For people who don't know it, they're really, there are not a lot of people, so to speak, up there to really interact. So when there are people that are doing things in neighboring cities, it kind of shrinks the world up there, I would imagine. Is that accurate?
It's just a matter of perspective. It definitely is a small area. I just had many of interesting moments with musicians in this area. I don't do a lot, but, I'm aware of a lot of it. But it's just, there's definitely great musicians in the area, and there's got a lot of influence stuff over the years. And and for me, I just, grew up in a small town, and just really interested in music, and whatever happened, so I just kept plugging away where some people might have just thought of it as a hobby,
We're with Joey Belladonna, lead singer of the band Anthrax. Joey, what did your parents do? Were they musical at all?
No. They were just observers of the whole thing,
Were they supportive?
Yeah, for a little while, my father would be, seemed to be playing a lot of the same places, before I joined Anthrax, you ought to get a real job, that kind of stuff. And, I could have, and I had jobs and all that stuff. It's not like I wasn't working, but at the same time, I just, wanted to continue doing what I was doing. I didn't feel like it was repetitious to a point where I felt that I didn't want to do it anymore, and I just disregarded any of that conversation. And of course, when Anthrax started picking up pace and doing stuff, he got it, he understood it, and he relished it,
What was the alternative if you didn't do music? I mean, what were you doing at the time, or what were you thinking would be a fallback, or was there a fallback plan?
Oh, God, there were a number of things I could have done. God, I was teaching soccer at the young kids' college. I was doing lawn services. I could have been a guard at a power plant. Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, there were so many different things I could have done. I just I loved music so much. I probably could have went semi-pro as a hockey player. It was like I started as a freshman as a goalie and played all 4 years and maybe all-stars and trained with at hockey camp in St. Lawrence with like the Canadians and stuff, with people teaching us, and just, I went on a lot with the sports, but the college thing wasn't really running me that much interest,
What was your major in college? Were you in Oswego?
Yeah, but college wasn't my big thing. It wasn't, it was more of a art and, music and craft and that kind of stuff. I didn't really have any huge major, but if I wanted to continue playing hockey, I'm sure I would have had to gone more into the college end of it to go semi-pro or so. I don't know. I don't even know where I would have gone and how I would have taken it. But I mean, I definitely was thinking hockey for a little while there, but I still was a musician at the same time, so I was kind of toying back and forth with that.
We're with Joey Belladonna, lead singer of the band Anthrax. Joey, your first tour with Anthrax, was it culture shock, or did you do any traveling before that?
Well, I mean, it's funny because we played some of the same clubs that I did in my cover bands with Anthrax, and I said, wow, this isn't all that much different, even though we're doing originals and I was doing covers. But so a lot of the places I hit, I was already playing, so it just felt almost a little odd that, because we were fairly popular and people knew the songs we were playing. And then we come in with Anthrax, and they were kind of an underground new original band, and not being super successful at the moment. But other than that, I felt pretty positive about how we were handling it. It didn't bother me. I was obviously learning how to do that kind of music as I went. I mean, I never had really sang live with that type of music, and the whole format. It's a lot of words, fast. It's just different style for me. So I was just totally getting into the whole development of that.
What was your interaction with Metallica? Same label, they were label mates, and they obviously took off at relatively the same time you guys did.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's many stories that go with that. Which a lot of it I wasn't even in the midst of a lot of it because I was living upstate, so I wasn't really in the city. And a lot of that took place a little earlier before I even got in the band. I mean, this was really, early 83, 84. I didn't come until 85, so there was a lot of interaction with those guys. Of course, we toured on the Master of Puppets. That's when I started to get to know them, and now knowing them. But at the time, I knew they were an upcoming band and they were going to be successful. It was just nice that people could help each other and be friends and still remain friends.
No question. I mean, do you take that into consideration when you're dealing with bands that are opening for you? Let's say, I mean, you know what it's like to be the opener. You've paid your dues and so forth. Do you think the band has kind of paid it forward, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we've been just doing it for so long, and every time we step foot into a venue, it's just we know that we've done many years of working hard at what we do, and still to this day, in fact, if anything, we're more aware and much better. I can't even remember us being this good and that aware.
How about the amount of shows that you do this year, say in a year like 2013, compared to what you were doing back then? How many do you expect to do this year?
Well, 20, 40, 60, I would say it's going to be probably on the hundreds again.
Yeah.
We're I don't even know what our average is anymore at this point. I know that we keep busy. We're in that 3 to 5 range a tour weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks. Get some couple of weeks, 3 weeks of festivals, and a headliner. A couple of like Australian, India will be solo, and then, just all kinds of different stuff. So yeah, we're going to be pretty busy. I mean, of course, we're looking at maybe doing another record soon. So on top of it, so who knows when that'll pick up some steam and get started. And so
it's got to be a different dynamic. Now you have wives and kids in the mix, as far as the band members go, and I'm sure that that complicates that. But when you were first starting out, who was the first to be married or to have kids?
Well, it wasn't me, so
It was.
I'll leave that up to whoever will figure that one out.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the difference between now and then, in general, I mean, are you road weary now? Is it less exciting? Is it just as exciting?
It's definitely exciting. There's no doubt about it. It's exciting. It's just you prep and where how long you're going and what you need to do to take care of what you're not doing when you're not home and that kind of stuff. It's just different things to look forward to, and then things you have to prepare for before you run. Just not like the old days. I lived at home and you just say goodbye and I'll see you when I get back. And now you just gotta, there's a lot of other things to consider. But I'm definitely speaking for myself, I'm very, very excited to perform and, carry a great show night after night. That's what I do, and that's what I think we intend on doing.
Turning Point with Frank Mackay returns right after this. Welcome back to Turning Point with Frank Mackay.
You mentioned 1985. It's a huge world of difference between the music business now and how it was in '85. I mean, with everything digitally downloaded and the electronic aspect of the internet. I mean, just basically the internet has changed the world, and certainly the world of the music business. Do you like the new music business, or does it matter to you one way or the other?
Well, the way it used to be before was, traditional, and it was seemed to be right. Now, of course, now you can put a song out as soon as I get off the phone with you, and it'll hit right across the world. But it's nice that people can hear about a band quick and all that. You can just advertise quickly and all that. But obviously, the whole record company thing is sad that, not that all of it was perfect, but it was nice to have all that there and, people behind it, even though we still have that going. Megaforce is doing a fine job for us, and they seem to be very supportive. Of course, record stores, there just isn't as many anymore, and I love going buying records. It's just different now. I wish it wasn't so easy to get music free, because it is our business,
Yeah.
But other than that, I know it's the way it is, and what are you going to do, it's not that it's a bad thing, because I think, it's taken its own little course, I guess,
Joey Belladonna, lead singer of Anthrax, is our very special guest today. Joey, what have you been listening to yourself lately? Heavier stuff, lighter stuff? What have you been buying?
I buy a lot of stuff that, it's a little more melodic. There's musicians that put stuff out that I love, like say Glenn Hughes, and I like, like for instance, he puts solo stuff out, or
yeah.
There's just a lot of people like Hagar put his Chicken Foot out. Not to say that those are my primary listens, but it's nice when certain people that I liked or followed that have records out. There's certain bands that are new that I dig, and then there's a lot of just back catalog. I love finding stuff that I had on record now on CD, or I don't have on record anymore that I used to have on record that I need on CD. And then sometimes you just try to find stuff that you know that you're going to listen to versus just owning it and never pulling it up to listen to. It depends on what mood I'm in, I do like, again, a lot of melodic stuff and more musicianship, more intricate playing, I do strive on a little bit of that. Although simplistically, it's nice to listen to stuff that's just straight up. But I enjoy a lot of great playing and performances.
Did you ever have the opportunity to work with Glenn Hughes? I know he's done a lot of production. Did he? Did you ever?
I've been in presence with him. In fact, he was at the Ronnie Memorial. We sang together on that, and we also did the Ronnie. He showed up for the Ronnie Stand Up and Shout. He actually didn't perform that night, but he was there. And we talked, and I don't know. I love that. Him. He's still carrying on, and he's such a great musician. And I love him in Deep Purple, and I love the trapeze stuff, and just the overall musicians that he had and the songs. And but I never really got to do anything with him. I probably would love. I certainly would love to do something like that with that Coverdale Hughes thing. That would have been kind of neat. In fact, I sat there and talked to him. I never even brought it up to him. I just told him, I enjoyed again more of the stuff that he's doing, the black community there. Just love all that kind of thing that he does. All the solo records, very, very good.
Where would Joey Belladonna, lead singer of Anthrax? Joey, how about yourself? Have you done any production over the years, or is it something you're interested in?
Well, I have music and stuff that I've, co-written with people, and a lot of times it's hard getting everybody rounded up.
Yeah.
It's just.
Do you have a home studio? Do you do a lot of your own stuff? Do you have a Pro Tools set up?
Yeah, I got the whole thing. It's just not enough communication. At times that I'd like as much as I'd like, to work on things, on a daily basis. It's just so hard to round people up, whether they be too far away or they got their own lives and their things going on, which they all want to, but they never seem to have time for. So it's a lot of that becomes very difficult. I guess the only thing I really missed out was being able to play an instrument other than drums. I play and sing. I have my own cover band. I sing and play drums all night, but I don't play guitar. I don't play keyboard. So it's just kind of I do very little, but nothing substantial. So it's just kind of hard without people around. But I do enjoy writing music, and I want to, and I plan to. But now that Anthrax is rolling, I just haven't had a whole lot of time myself. But there always is, if it need be. So, again, we just cut 6 songs for an EP, some classic rock stuff. So that was my last recording. We did a brand new song with Anthrax that was hopefully going to come out on the Walking Dead. We'll see. Who
produced your cover album?
Jay Rustin and Rob Caggiano helped put all that stuff together. We kind of did it in different places and different times.
Yeah.
Everybody recorded in different. We didn't do any of it together. So.
If you had to pinpoint a time in your life that was a turning point, that you would consider a turning point, what would you point to?
Well, I'd say Anthrax, just because it just turned into something, worldwide, and it also I became very aware of what I could do vocally, original. I really finally had a chance to do many songs with me singing without doing anyone else's interpretation, and go, wow, that's what I sound like. Okay, here we're onto something here. And this is, what I thought I could do. I wasn't sure what it was and when it was, but that finally just came to light. And, those are, big turning points.
Turning Point with Frank Mackay returns right after this. Welcome back to Turning Point with Frank Mackay.
When was the first time you realized that there was basically no turning back? I don't know. There was obviously a gap in your Anthrax career, between when you were there and when you weren't. But when did you first realize, when you joined the band, that hey, this is big time. This is a serious deal, and this is going to make me well known.
I don't know. I don't know specifically, but I'd say maybe when we got the Saboteur, that was very short-lived. Stuff like that. Hitting a tour that's huge. Going out.
Who was singing for Sabbath at the time? Was that Dio?
Glenn Hughes, in fact.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then, of course, that fell through, but for whatever it was worth, I mean, I don't even know if there was stuff earlier than that, but it's something that just popped in my head. I'm not even sure if that specifically was, but, when you just start selling records and doing interviews and seeing people very interested in the band and getting fans and just the whole cycle, you start to understand that people are interested in the band and they do take us, at face value.
With a voice like yours, and it's really a wonderful voice just to be born with and to develop. I'm sure somewhere along the line, some pretty big names have asked you to join the band. Whether you were in Anthrax or after Anthrax or in between. Has anybody approached you to work with you that you turned down, that you later regretted?
Unfortunately, no. I haven't had that's one thing I always say. I never really got in that big loop of being offered gigs. For some reason, I don't know, if Anthrax was very narrow window of acceptance, as if I was more of a thrash singer and a shouter or a screamer or something. I don't think anybody knows at all that I could even sing a whole lot of different styles and just with, especially early Anthrax. God, I mean, some of that stuff isn't even comprehending to certain people. They don't even get it. So I never really got a lot of offers, to be honest with you.
Do you think any of it has to do with the fact that you're not exactly blessed by geography either? You live in a great area. I know that area very well, and I love it. But it's not L.A. and it's not New York City. And even though you spend time in L.A. and New York City, it's not full time. Do you think living outside of a major market affects your career?
I think that living where I was living, I always said my expectations were whatever happens. I'm going to still keep playing music, and I love it, and it's just the way I like it. And if I didn't make it, I'd still, whatever I was doing, I'd felt pretty proud of doing it. I'd still keep plugging away. So that was unique that Anthrax found me and gave me a chance. But yeah, I mean, even if I say I did live in L.A., who knows how much exposure I would even have gotten, or New York, because I'm sure that anybody who lives in New York finds it quite hard to even get their name out, or it's definitely smaller than you think, but then at the same time, I think there's certain cliques of people that just always go to those people to do things with. And I just never was in that loop for some reason. And maybe, even after this cover record comes out, it made me go, wow, I didn't know you could sing something like that, or whatever. I may go, wow, I mean, yeah, I didn't know that. Well, after so long as I've been in the business, is it going to be a couple of cover songs that make people understand that you can sing? I'm not saying that anybody doesn't realize you can sing and don't felt that Anthrax wasn't worthy of it, but I just think it's kind of a different kind of style for certain bands, and whether they felt that you were available or what they were looking for, I don't know. And nor was I really in it to try to get out of a band to go to another band or hoping that people would offer me stuff, because easier said than done to take offers while you're in something, vice versa with anyone else you're playing with. How many times I played with people that thought they were just looking for another opportunity. If I get with him, maybe somebody will call me and then I can get to go where I need to go. So don't you really want to, try, you can't jump around too much. And that's one thing good about Anthrax. A lot of us didn't do a lot of jumping around and, and taking off too early before it would even really got developed,
That's true.
I never thought about it. I never really, it would be great to play with certain people and, not to go into all that, but yeah, it would really be interesting to try some other projects. But, at this point, it seems like so late in the game that I don't worry about it. I'm hearing more people goofing around about me being in Journey or something like that, or just weird predictions and stuff, which I just kind of chuckle at. But, you know, it's nice. It's nice conversation. It's nice to hear people kind of throw stuff around, but, you know,
well, yeah,
I don't think much of it.
Well, I'll tell you, certainly have the voice to sing any of that. I mean, you're just an amazing voice, and it's lasted over the years. Our special guest today is Joey Belladonna of Anthrax. Joey, have you ever lived anywhere else but upstate New York?
Yeah, I lived up in the Albany area for, you know, about 6 or 7 months in a cover band out that way for a little while in '83, but nowhere else really. I mean, I lived in Syracuse, which I am now, but I didn't really live there very long. You know, it was kind of like more of a stopover for a little while. Then I lived in Plattsburgh, New York, before I joined Anthrax for a little while. It was more like I was kind of like felt like one of those kids that was on a internship. You know, you kind of hang out for however long it lasts, and then you go home, kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, you know, one last question, and I'll let you get going. But you know, back in '85 when you started with Anthrax, thrash and rap, so-called rap, you know, which later became hip-hop and it evolved, they both really started out on an even plane. And, you know, you go back a couple of years earlier, '83, you know, they almost started out at the same exact point. I think most people would have believed that thrash would have made the biggest splash, and certainly not rap. But it was we were certainly wrong if we were predicting that. I mean, hip-hop and rap has just completely become the mainstream, and metal, you know, thrash, you know, now is called metal, and you know, vice versa in some cases. But was that a surprise to you, or is it something that you never really thought about?
I didn't think about it. I mean, I didn't even know half of what was going on when it was going on. I was just kind of going with the flow, you know, and that was fine by me. I was just happy to be a part of it, and it was nice. It was very educational to be able to see some of it develop and turn into something that everybody was really psyched to be successful over, you know. That was cool.
Has the band, as a working unit, and, you know, as far as the leadership goes and everything else, has it changed much over the years, or is it still basically, you know, the same type of apparatus, leadership apparatus within the band?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. I mean, I think everybody also at this point was willing to work together even closer to make everything a little bit more even, you know. So we're all participating as one versus, you know, two people calling the shots and then everybody just agreeing. You know, that's something that makes more sense to me because, you know, you want to be a part of it. You don't want to just be you know, just shake your head, yes, okay, whatever, just to follow. I mean, because you know, I have plenty of good ideas and plenty of thoughts and plenty of disagreements and agreements. You know, but I think you know, things are definitely on the better as much as they possibly can be, and then we're, you know, working still in progress. So.
We've been speaking with Joey Belladonna, lead singer of Anthrax. Joey, what do you do from here? What's next for you?
Well, you know, everybody's got preparations to go. Actually, we got the Grammys coming up. We're, you know, crossing our fingers. Maybe we can actually win one this time around. Who knows? And then right after that, we'll leave for in India and Australia with Metallica and Slayer and do some festivals, some big festivals over there. And when we come back, we'll hit the States with the Jaeger Metal Alliance tour. You know, we're headlining, and so it'll be, you know, those will be the two upcoming things. So it should be very cool. Looking forward to that.
I think your fans are looking forward to it as well. Joey Belladonna has been our very special guest today. Joey, thank you very much for your time. Again, lead singer Joey Belladonna of Anthrax. Joey, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate your compliments, and nice of you guys to reach out. Appreciate it.
Sounds great. Joey Belladonna has been our very special guest. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning in here to Turning Point. Joey Belladonna of Anthrax.
Turning Point with Frank Mackay is brought to you by Herman Katz Camgeni and Klein, Duffy & Duffy, and Gold Coast Bank. Turning Point with Frank Mackay was produced by Out of the Box Studios in Bohemia, New York. Executive producers Frank Mackay and Harry Oates. Director of Operations Corey Arnold. Audio and studio engineering Francis Kazmarek and James DeZigo of Sage Studios. Webmaster Eric Soul. Radio segment producer James DeZigo. Hotel and accommodations provided by Ohiga Castle Hotel and Estates in Huntington, New York. Transportation services provided by Mark of Elegance Limousine in Hauppauge, New York. Catering services provided by Windows on the Lake in Ronkonkoma, New York.